So now we are ready to create or detect the faces in our image. So we have created a face recognition model with cascade classifier and the face recognition data XML file. We also imported our data, that is this people's JPEG sample image, and we also changed its color space to grayscale. So we can view that as well. So in here we have this face. So how it will detect, or our face recognition will recognize or detect faces in our image. Well, you can see we have a noticeably frontal face in here, and as I mentioned, only frontal face will be detected. That is our data file, so you can check its name again. So anyway, how it will detect this face in the image? Well, you can see that we have the face only this much, so it will pass in some coordinates or a square around the image. So let's say we have our face in here, so it will pass some coordinates of 4 points or a set of 4 points around our face. So let's detect that. For the same, we need to use our class, that is this face recognition dot detect multiscale method. So let's just use a coordinate. So it will pass the coordinates as I mentioned. So let's create a coordinate variable and store that. That will be output of our face recognition, and then we'll have class detect multiscale. So as it sounds, we will detect multiscale. So you can just see the naming convention, that is the first letter is small case, but the next words are capitalized, that is the first letters are capitalized. So moving on ahead, make sure to pass in the name correctly, and then we need to pass in some arguments. First of all, the image, that is our image input, then that is in the color black and white color space or the grayscale. So now we need to pass another arguments or set of arguments, that is 1.3 and 5. So these are used by this detection as a values that will be used in the formula. So you don't need to sweat about that because it's just a default value you need to pass every time you detect faces. So that's one of a deeper value or one deep discussion that will be skipped in this lesson because we are not going to create the formulas. We're just going to detect the faces. We don't want to actually see or know how the formula is working. So that's too deep for now. Let's just skip that. Make sure to just pass in our image as the first argument, then 1.3 as the second argument, 5 as the third argument. Then let's run this cell, and then our coordinates are detected. So if you want to see or check whether any coordinates are detected or not, or face is detected in your image or not, you can always just check in our core variable. So let's view this. You can see that we have an array with 4 points, that is this, 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 and this. So let's view our image again. So let's say we have our image. So CV2 im show, we have, let's say, our image input, and then let's just also use the wait key. So wait key is nothing, and run this cell. You can see that we have the face. So it provided some coordinates. As you can see that we have the coordinates array of 1230, 150, 214, 240. So we have coordinates, 4 coordinates around this face, that is a square, but we don't have that square inside of our image. So how do we import or just display that face or just that coordinated square upon our image to just show that, yeah, this is the face detected in our face or our image? So for the same, we need to use a for loop to get this coordinate values and then import or just display that in the image with CV2 rectangle function. So let's do that. So first of all, let's create a new cell inside of that. So using a for loop, we will get the 4 values as in the core you saw. So when we have values in the core, it means that face is detected. So then we want to plot or just show that rectangle around our face in the image. For the same, we need the 4 values that is the 4 points of the rectangle or a square. So it will be a quadrilateral, it can be a square or even a rectangle. So let's refer that with a quadrilateral, 4 sides. So x, then we'll get y, then we'll get w, and we'll get h. So x and y, fine. Then we have w width, you can say, h height, you can say. And for this, in our core, that is a detected return, so it detected in this image with these default values, and we get the detected coordinates in this core, and now we are using that in a for loop. So moving on ahead, let's inside of for loop we want to plot or show or display that rectangle. So for the same, cv2 provides a function. So cv2 dot rectangle, and then the rectangle function will take some parameters as well. So first of all, our image onto which we want to display that square. So you can display that square on the input or the image with the RGB settings, that is the colored image or the grayscale image. We'll use the colored image, that is this image in here. So let's pass that. So image, that is the first argument. Then we need to pass in some default arguments. So first of all, we need to pass in the set of x and y. So we have x and y. Then we'll pass the x plus y. So we'll pass x and y, and now we need to add the width and the height to them. So x plus w, that is width, and y plus height. So these are some default arguments which you have to pass always, so just pass them as I'm telling you. Then we need to pass in the detection scale. So it is 255 by 0 and 0. So this is also a default argument. And then we just need to pass in the width of that square. So let's just pass in 3 for now, and then let's run this cell. So run the cell. So our detected square is plotted onto our image. So let's just see that. So let's create another cell. Inside of that, let's just use the cv2.image_show function. Inside of that, let's pass in our image. So let's say detection. So detection, and the detection is our image. So we have plotted that image, so it will just plot that rectangle inside of image. So we need to change the image as well. So image equals, run this cell again, come here again, and now also let's specify the wait key and run this cell. So now you can see that we have a blue rectangle around the face of our person. So that is the face detection we just did with our cascade classify with OpenCV's data, predefined data, and we have the output. So in here you can pass in any data or any image you want. So in the next lesson, let's create or unify or just create a elegant way where we can just pass in a image and it will show us the detection. So let's create a function for that in the next lesson.